All right, Mayor Barchi, it's yours. And you're on mute.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 3:22 p.m. on Wednesday, April 13th. And we're gonna start off with roll call. Cooper Ahern.
Here.
Kayla Bolane.
Here.
Maisie Gordon.
She's online.
She's online. Annika Jordan.
Here.
Indigo Croy.
Here.
River Randolph.
Yeah.
Eleni Wallen. Not here.
Not here.
And then Caitlin Winkleman.
Here.
Okay, so first item on the agenda is approving the minutes from the March 14th meeting. Did anyone get a chance to read over them and want to make a motion to approve them?
Looked over them before this meeting. I am making a motion to approve them.
I second that.
Okay, nice. So we got Indigo making the motion, Cooper seconding it. Next up on our agenda is that we're gonna get a presentation from the Ridgway Community Garden.
So Anna, let's back up. So procedurally, we have a motion and a second. Now we need to do a vote.
Oh yeah, vote.
So why don't we do this? Mary, you can just say all in favor. And everyone can say either, well, hopefully everyone just says yes or aye. Right?
Okay,
So go ahead.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposing? Nope. Okay, so we are all good on that.
Great, thanks. So the next item is a presentation from the Ridgway Community Garden, and we have Agnieszka with the Ridgway Community Garden here to talk on that group's behalf and let you guys know what they're up to and what they're all about. I will turn it over to you.
Hi.
And actually, everyone give her a round of applause.
Well, thank you for inviting me to talk to you and your eagerness to learn more. I think many of you have been at the garden and contributed in some ways over the last years. But I'm going to give you an overview of how the garden started and what we're doing now and some opportunities for the garden and you for the future. And if you have questions, just ask a question and we'll have some time at the end too, okay? So here are some photos of the garden before I put up a bunch of text up there. It kind of highlights what we've been able to produce at the new location in the last 3 years. At Green Street, which is just down the street from the secondary school. So I'm guessing many of you go by it. It's not fully built out yet, but these are the photos from the last couple summers, okay? So the garden actually started way back in 2007, and it was a program of another nonprofit organization, the Southwest Institute for Resilience, which serves farmers markets in Norwood, Telluride. They have a high altitude farm. And Chris Holstrom, who's one of the commissioners for San Miguel, kind of is the big, she's the face of the organization and has supported a lot of local initiatives for sustainability, recycling, green practices. So she took us under her wing, and it all started with basically there was just a group of gardeners, friends that wanted to see if they can grow something together. So that operated on South Laura Street and Charles. It was on the corner. That was private property. So the owners at the time let us just operate the garden. And then when they went to sell the land, we needed to find a new home. And we wanted a long-term place, somewhere in Ridgway. So that's when the planning committee approached the town and council about working together to figure out if we could put in the garden on public space. So it would hopefully sustain over the long term and we wouldn't have to move again. So that went through a big, we went through a big stakeholder planning process, and I'll talk about that a little bit because that's important for how things work at the town level. But ultimately we were able to reopen the garden in 2019 on Green Street over there. So we've been working closely with the town staff and council and the Parks Committee to plan the garden, start building it, and then to manage it. So right now, council just approved a 20-year lease for the garden. So we're pretty set in that location for another 20 years. And we have commitments, obviously, to town with reporting, and we have in the agreement, it lines out what we can and cannot do at the property. We, as a nonprofit organization, we are funded by grants, local donors, and then all the members pay a nominal $60 per bed fee to help us operate and maintain the garden and provide resources, and I'll get to that. And then last year, we also started subleasing a portion of the property we leased to the apiary. So we've been led by a steering committee throughout since the beginning, but then, go ahead, Kristen, this one, please. We just became our own 501c3 tax exempt organization. Does that mean anything to you? A nonprofit organization. So unlike a business, a nonprofit organization is recognized by the IRS under that code. So we don't have to pay taxes. So we kind of are structured like a business, but the idea is that we provide services to the community without charging a lot for fees. So services that might not be provided by a business, but we don't have to pay taxes for it. So it helps us. So now we have a formal board of directors. I'm currently the chair. Those are the other members. I think you've met, maybe some of you have met some of them during service projects you've done at the garden. And we're basically kind of like sponsoring the apiary, working with them to collaborate and help them out to get started. Hopefully one day they can get established as a nonprofit organization also. So going back a little bit, I mentioned that we went through a planning process with the town of Ridgway. So in order to convince the town that we were going to be good stewards of the land, we engaged with town staff and council and then the planning commission in the scoping project. So basically the town of Ridgway has a 7-acre parcel along Green Street. So the garden is that white space that you see on the north. But at some point, that whole area is going to be developed into a park. So there were a lot of community meetings. There was input for youth for what they want that new park to look like at some point. And basically the plan that was adopted in 2015 conceptualized that it will be a pretty open, natural feeling space, and that the community garden was a really valuable asset to the community. And there was pretty much unanimous support for placing it within the park. So that white area, I think you zoomed in already, okay, great, is the 1-acre parcel we're leasing from town. Then you can skip forward. And that's what it looks like on the ground. So the orange boundary is the 1 acre, but currently we have built out basically a portion of the northern portion of the 1/2 acre. So that's the area in the solid orange. So within there, we have 50 raised beds and they're 4 by 10. And like I said, we rent them out to individuals or families, and they're in charge of stewarding their own beds, but we provide the boxes, the soil, tools, row cover, all the resources except for seeds that they need for growing produce over there. It's all surrounded by a wildlife fence to deter deer and bears. I don't know if there's bears in the park, but from going in there. We have a tool shed. There's 2 shade tents. You can't see the second one yet. There's a pathway that goes around. On the north end, we have a compost bin. It used to be just a piled compost, but we had an actual wooden structure built. There's a wash station where gardeners can clean their produce. We have an info kiosk. And then we're connected to town water. And that was a great service of town. The town extended the tap from Marion Overlook across to the garden. And so we used town water, but we paid for it. And then last year we served 85 adults and 52 children. Now those were actual members that paid to be in the garden. But obviously the produce that they've grown had been shared with family and friends and even the food pantry. So we try to connect the gardeners in the garden to the community through various partnerships. That yellow area to the south is where the apiary is, and that's there's a shade cloth that they have around it. But last year they had 13 hives in there, and we agreed that they can put in as many as 50. So the idea with the apiary is to not so much beekeeping and producing beekeeping for honey production, but for establishing and nurturing pollinating insects in our community. So Judy Hazen and Fred Boyle are kind of the brains behind that, but like the garden, they have members and do a lot of outreach and education so people can learn the skills, not only to beekeep at the site, but then to do it also at home in the community. Let's see, what's next? I don't remember. I think I have pictures. So this is the top photo, shows you what the garden looks like in the spring after the beds have been prepped, and we use this row cover to protect the vegetation because we have a really short growing season. And I think you probably have experienced the wind out there near the school. The wind can be really wicked, and we can have freezing temperatures early in the season and then even in August. So use row cover to help with that. And then the bottom picture shows you what the garden looked like in mid-July last year. We had a really productive season with all the rain. Things were just like busting out of the covers. Our garden members range in age from little people to older community members, families, individuals. This top picture is from a work day. We have work days to bring people together to help steward the garden, but also work together to get things planted, or in this case, this was fall, so they were cleaning up their beds and getting them ready for winter. Here I have some photos to show you what people grow in the garden. We grow a lot of greens. We have carrots, squash. I think those kids are holding peas. We grow garlic, all kinds of herbs. Next one, people have even managed to grow broccoli heads and like large cabbage heads and pumpkins. We have wildflowers, beets, more zucchini. This is a newer, if you think back to the earlier photo, you probably saw there was a lot of empty space in the perimeter of the beds. We haven't fully built out the garden, but one thing we started on last year was to create a kids area so that kids can go play when they get tired of helping in the garden beds. So we put in this sunken sand pit, and this year we're going to be adding a few more features in that area for the kids' play areas, but also like small garden boxes and sensory things. So in addition to food production, one of our main goals is partnerships with schools and other programs like Voyager. So the top left photo are actually shop students that worked with Mr. Johnson in his shop class in spring 2019 to build our garden beds. And then they brought them over and placed them. And then we have, it's mostly secondary level students from Ridgway. And I think some of you were there from outdoor education and maybe Mr. Arts class, helping prep the beds last spring. So bringing in soil mulching, helping us turn compost, etc. So we want to build that. So if you ever hear opportunities or have ideas of visions for what we can do in the garden to better serve you and connect to schools, we're always available to hear that. Last year, Voyager also had some garden beds for growing. Okay. Another really important partnership is with WIC, Women, Infant, and Children. So that's a program for underserved populations in Erie County. And this is Amy Erickson. She is the lead, and every year she works with a group of families to help them grow produce, to teach them skills for gardening here in Ridgway, so they can nourish their families. And every year we also have extra produce to donate to the food pantry. And I think this year they're actually going to dedicate some volunteers to come grow specifically for the food pantry. And then the third goal, which is really big, is education and outreach. So this is Chris Land. She's our master gardener. She was actually one of the initial members that formed the garden back in 2007, but she does a lot of in-person workshops on various gardening topics and best practices. And then the last 2 years, actually, because of COVID, she created a whole library of videos that are on our website that we can share with the community and beyond. So yeah, food production, partnerships, education. I think, is that all? Oh, no, this is one more slide. What's next? So this year and going forward into the next 5 years, we're planning to fill in those empty areas around the garden beds. So we'll be putting in high beds where people can garden at by standing, so they don't have to bend over. We have a lot of older gardeners that are going to benefit from that. Going to continue adding to the kids area. We need to put in permaculture, so a lot of perennials and like fruiting, shrubs, herb gardens, etc. We might have some art installations, we're not sure. And then beyond that, we may be expanding the garden further south towards the apiary. Right now, we don't really have a wait list. We rent all the beds, so we haven't maxed out our capacity yet, but that's kind of the vision down the road as the community grows. We might have more need. So that's all I had. Cool.
Questions,
Any
y'all have?
questions?
Need to think of it again.
Is when you mentioned the permaculture, is that like other like wild or other plants like helping other plants, or?
Yeah, so honestly, I don't know a whole lot about it, and I think there's different models, but yeah, there's the idea with permaculture is to like create these micro habitats where it's like self-maintaining. So you might be like growing trailing, I don't know, vegetation, whether it's producing or a pollinate, has a pollinator focus with shrubs on top of it. Yeah, but I know it includes often like raspberries and fruiting bushes, you know, there could be like an asparagus patch incorporated. Yeah, there's different models, and I don't know what that's going to look like. We haven't planned it yet, but what we found that's important for gardening and Ridgway and growing is that we really have to like take consideration our environment and what might be feasible here, both from like the watering perspective and then the temperatures too. And
Have you guys thought about like greenhouses?
yes, a lot. So that was actually part of like an initial idea, and we reserved the northwest corner for that, and we've kind of gone back and forth. One is that we're not quite sure if the community, how the community would use it. Two, we've considered it as a partnership with the schools.
Yeah, we've been thinking about doing that next year for an environmental like club project.
Yeah, and we would love to talk to you to like what the needs are and how you think the school would use it and how you could help us steward it. Our big constraint right now is that we're totally run by volunteers. So we don't have like an administrator or a manager that, and it feels like if we go the greenhouse route, would almost have to be like a salaried position, someone that really knows what they're doing and they can be around all the time to maintain it so it doesn't go into disrepair. Are you a good contact for that, for the environmental club?
Yeah, me or Eleni.
Okay, great, thanks.
How would you sign up to volunteer?
I can give you my contact info. I was gonna write it. Can you send it?
Send it to the group.
Okay, yeah, my email, a phone number, that'd be great. Yeah, I'd be a good contact. Or if it's like with a class, you can get in touch with us through your teacher or go to our website. There's a contact form and email. And the website also has a lot of great information about what we're doing. Yeah. And I think, I know that Chris Lance and Dave Peterson, who's a new board member, is working with a group of students from your school to come help this spring, but I'm not sure which class it is. Okay. All right.
I also have one question. Are you
Yes.
guys in need of any compost? Because one of our big projects this year at school has been creating a compost bin, and we're probably going to have a lot of soil soon, and I'm not sure if we figured out anything to do with it. So maybe we could donate it to the garden if you guys need some.
Yeah, that would be great. We would love to do that. And we could also help you get the word out to community members that might want to come get it directly from the school too. So we can help you with that. Anna, are you a good person to contact about that?
Yes, anyone who's, so me, Indigo, and Maisie are all, and Cooper are all in environmental club, so could contact any of us about that.
Okay, sounds good. Yep.
So for, you mentioned Ridgway and growing, what doesn't work well here? Like, I'm not
For
a gardener.
growing?
I want to like start a garden, and I'm gonna plant some stuff.
Well,
What should I
tomatoes
not
pretty much are like, if you can grow tomatoes, you're like a superhero. You just need a lot of maintenance and like covering, uncovering. It just doesn't get quite hot enough, long enough to grow them. I think we actually had some gardeners manage to do that in the garden the first year, but that's difficult. So greens like salad greens, chard, kale, they do really well. All those leafy veggies.
Good to know.
Yeah.
How many of you have already volunteered or been over there? Was that you in that photo?
It was.
Oh, all of you. Okay. That's sweet. Yeah.
We went over a few times with our class.
Yeah, I've done at least twice.
Cool. Anything else? Any other questions? Burning thoughts? No? Okay, well, one more round of applause.
Thanks for serving on the youth council. It means a lot to town and to all of us that work with youth here.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Will you share my email with them?
Yeah, I'll share your contact info and introduce them to you.
Great, thanks.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Mary, you want to take us to the next item?
Yes. So next up is an update regarding the community suggestion boxes. And Maisie is driving home from her appointment. She texted me. She said she's trying to connect, but she's going to wait till she's not driving anymore. And she is the main person to go to on that.
I have a little bit of information on them.
Thanks, Lenny.
So they're done, I guess. But on the side of the box, and he kind of built like a little slip that has note cards and a pencil, and that's where the key is also for the locks. And then he told me how we can kind of install them, which this is going to be the sort of harder part, I guess. But if you open up the top of the box, it's like designed to just screw through like the top into the wall wherever we want to put them. So I don't totally know where that is that we're gonna put them, but he said you just screw like through. Yeah. Oh, and then also we do need to reimburse him for the locks.
You know how much that was?
I don't. I think Maisie does, but I can also ask him tomorrow.
That, Lenny, it's just Adam Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll don't worry, I'll take care of it. I'll talk with him and
Okay.
figure that out.
Yeah. So see how on the back of the box, other side, like see where the back of your hand is. Yeah. See like that wooden block thing.
Wait,
See, so if you screw like from the inside through that thing into the wall, that's what he told me.
Okay. So, great.
So I think that's if we want to screw it into a wall, like if that's how we want to install it, but I'm sure we could just put it somewhere else also. I think we can kind of do what we want.
So let's talk about where these are going. I think the last couple of meetings, we've talked about one going here at town hall and then one going into the school, at your school, right?
Yeah.
I don't see a need to, to screw it into the wall here. I think we can just set it where everyone can see it. That's just my first thought, but I think we can figure that out around here. Where do you guys think it should go at the school?
Probably like that front desk by the calendar.
Yeah.
I
Or
was
like
thinking there or in the inside section, like in the in between the two
like in
doors.
between the doors.
What?
I
No.
never see anything in there.
That's true, and I would never like
I
stop
would
there to
know.
fill out
Isn't there
paper.
like a
Like,
tall, like
there's-
standing circle desk outside, like right in front? As you
Like
walk in?
outside?
No, like inside, like right as you walk in through the middle section.
Yeah.
Is
In
there
the
a
middle
tall-
section?
Yeah,
Or-
or just the ledge on the front desk, like.
I think we should
two.
do it like the table outside the front desk.
Yeah, I think that. And then should we make like a sign explaining
Yeah.
what it is?
And maybe we should have Jen send it out in the emails.
Yeah, we can do like an announcement
about it.
So, great thought. So why don't we do this? Let's back up because we have some celebrities in attendance. We have Mayor Clark, who you guys know, he comes to every meeting. We also have Kevin Grambley, who's also on the town council. Let's have someone volunteer to explain to Kevin what this is all about, what you guys are looking to do here.
Okay, I guess I can explain it. So we initially thought that we wanted to make like these suggestion boxes, since we are kind of trying to be like the bridge between the youth of Ridgway and government. So we made these boxes and we're planning to put one at the high school so that the youth can have an actual physical place to give their input, I guess. And then we're gonna put one here for the general community for the same purpose.
I remember a few months ago, the discussion about that. And it is great to see these come to fruition and actually going out. And I hope they're well received by everybody in town. So nice work.
What happens if we don't get any suggestions?
Yeah, what do we do then?
And everything's perfect, right?
There's no problem.
I think that kind of goes to the importance of really making sure people understand what they're there for. People have input, people have feedback on stuff and opinions to express. So Kayla, great suggestion. I think when we wrap up here, it'd be great to have someone raise their hand and offer to put that note, whether you attach it to the box or just right next to it, laminate it maybe saying, this is a community suggestion box, whatever you all want to call it, really explain what it's intended for. And then you can tell the administrators or folks in the office, they can help put that information out. And we have our channels too. We could do it for the greater community. Let folks know, come into town hall and let the youth council know what, what you're thinking about, what's important to you, et cetera. So you're going to get suggestions. You'll get some suggestions for sure.
And I have a question with them. So if we do get a suggestion of something that someone would maybe like to fix or start up, how would we go about starting that? Like, would we have to have a meeting with the greater actual town council to make anything happen, or like what power do we have?
Yeah, no, great thought. First let's see what comes in, and maybe we won't get anything by the time you all meet next month, and next month will likely be your last meeting. But to answer your question, I think we review them here. You have me, you have John Clark and others who can help, talk to some of the requests or questions that are being posed to you all and figure out what the right channel to get them addressed or at least make them feel heard is. So it's not always going to be, it's always nice when it's black and white, right? Or an easy yes or no answer or something. I've learned through the years, it's not always like that. It's not always black and white. Sometimes it's gray. You got to really be collective and collaborative with how you approach things. So that might very well be what's needed for just depending on what gets in that box. It's a roundabout way of saying we'll see.
Yeah.
I have another question. So are these going to be continued with the next group of these, right? Even if we're not on it? I mean, I'm sure most of us are going to try to be on it again, but is it going to be something that's continued? Probably.
Yeah, well, want to hear what you all think, but given we're so late in the year now, I shouldn't say late, but it's April. Your last meeting is likely next month. I'd love to, keep these out and start getting suggestions through the summer, especially here. I know the school's largely closed through the summer months, but continue it into next school year and have the next youth council open it up after it's really explained to them. I'm sure some of you might be on that council. And I have to educate the others on what this effort was all about. But I mean, this is a cool little initiative that can continue. So good thought.
I'd certainly vote for it in the future to continue this, because this is a great idea. for Everybody.
Thank you.
And I would just ask, where are we talking about putting them? I wasn't clear on that.
One here, I'm not sure, outside.
If it's
Of this
outside,
building?
we square to the wall.
Well, yeah, I don't know that I want to, we'll figure that out.
I can see putting it either on the table inside or,
Yeah.
so town staff will figure out where to put it in town hall.
But it sounds like you all kind of came to a conclusion on where it should go by the office, right?
Yeah, one here and then one
As long as
at the
it's-
inside of the school.
Yeah, I just want to make sure if they're going anywhere where they're not kind of monitored fairly frequently, they need hall. Because those don't hold that. But the table by the front desk at school and then either the counter by the clerk's office and that little table by the front door.
Yep. So who wants to volunteer to get the message together to attach to these? Maybe not attach them, but like put next to them or something.
I can help with it.
Yeah, I can do it with you. Collaborate.
Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you guys can do that so that we can, by the next meeting, maybe have some stuff in there for you all to kind of look through.
Yeah.
So I'll stay in touch with you all. Any other thoughts on these? So if you want to leave one here with me and then I'll let someone can let Cooper take be in charge of the other one. Yeah. Anything else on the boxes?
I don't think so.
All right.
I have one more thing.
Yeah.
I can volunteer to do this, but I think that we should make sure that for our next meeting, we have all the suggestions in the box. So maybe like I can grab the ones at the school and then someone can grab the other ones at the town council on their way in.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we have something to at least look over next meeting. Hopefully something.
Also, I don't know if we want to like have a certain spot that we keep the keys or if just like whoever volunteers keeps the key. I'm sure we could also leave it at the school, like the school one, leave there, but
Yeah, that's what I'd recommend. Keep the key somewhere at the school and then the other one we'll have here. But yeah, good thoughts for next meeting, Anna. On a similar note, I mentioned a couple times, next month will likely be your last, keep saying likely, but probably be your last meeting and you guys will be so busy in June. How many of y'all are seniors again? I can't remember.
Him and Hannah.
Just you and Anna? Okay, so not everyone will be that busy. Busy time for you and Anna for sure. So looking to have you all make your presentation to town council next month. Nothing too crazy, but actually go before them, just like you were at the beginning of the year doing your interviews to talk about your major takeaways and what you learned on your time on the youth council. So,
Do you want us to like make a presentation?
That's up to you. I think that, well, let's look to the council member. What
Would you guys
all
like to see a presentation or just have us talk?
Yeah, I think so, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I
that's-
think that's helpful.
Be a great way to show what you've done. You know, council, town council.
Pictures are great.
Show off what you've become.
So the council meeting next month in May is on the 11th, Wednesday, the 11th. It'll be in the evening, 5:30 p.m. And we can keep you all relatively early on in the agenda, so it's not too late for you all. This is jumping ahead, but I propose that your next meeting to be on the 9th, next and last meeting to be on the 9th of May. That might be a great opportunity for you all to sit here and we can talk about getting ready for that meeting a couple days later, home and polish the presentation that you guys put together.
I think that's pretty perfect timing. Our last soccer game is on May 7th, so soccer girls won't have to worry about that. And I don't think we have anything too crazy going on that week.
No, that should work because
wait,
Stephen.
sorry, can you say the date again? I didn't quite hear.
So the council meeting is on the 11th, May 11th, in the evening at 5:30, and then, you all need to decide on your next meeting date, but it's proposed for Monday, May 9th. At
Okay.
night.
Kayla and I won't be able to make the 11th. We have our dance performance stuff that week, so I don't know if we can go to that one, but yeah,
That's not the meeting, that's like the presentation to the council.
I know.
Still. Yeah.
We
So you
still
have
can't go
like
though.
a dance recital or something that night? Okay. Well, not the end of the world, but at least help get the presentation ready to go. I mean, it's a pretty big night. I imagine you guys practicing for the recital for a while, right? So, is there anybody else that's a conflict for the 11th? No. Well, since we're talking about it, does Monday, May 9th at 3:20 work for this meeting, youth council meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts or questions about the presentation of town council? No, nothing.
Are we just making like one big presentation for all of us to like have a part to talk about in it? Like, y'all talk about.
Yeah, last year we, I don't know if we actually even presented it to the town council. We might have just presented it to you, Preston, but we did make a little presentation, and I think we like had one person go and like put a big header on every slide, so like you'd know what the slide is about. And then last year, like everyone had 2 or 3 slides to do. This year we could probably all just do one since we got a big crew. So we'll have someone take charge on the project. I can do that if you need to, just so it's like organized and then everyone does a little part.
Yeah, there's no right way to do it, but it would be great to hear from everyone, even if it's just a little bit, so. Okay, anything else on that? Want to remind you all about, we have a cleanup day event coming up. The date for that is April 30th. That's a Saturday. We put out roll-offs here in the lot behind the library, and anyone can, really meant for residents, but anyone can, roll up with any of the trash or refuse they want to, get rid of. So if you guys need some volunteer hours or just are bored, come on out. You can help us out. Take some trash from trucks and throw it into the dumpsters. It's 8 to 1. Is it like 8 to noon or 8 to 1? Give or take.
Typically, it's publicized as going till 1 or 2, but usually lines up.
By 1, yeah. So there's that. There's also the town council adopted a couple miles of Highway 62 just recently. I mentioned this at the last meeting, but it's just a reminder. We're doing a adopt a highway cleanup event the Saturday before the cleanup event on the 30th or on the 23rd. So Saturday, April 23rd. You guys want to, walk the highway and carefully, of course, and pick up trash. You need volunteer hours, what have you. We'd love to have you guys there. So it's not mandatory by any means, but if you know anyone who might need some volunteer hours or just wants to help make our region, more beautiful of trash, let me know.
We have a National Honor Society meeting on Friday, and I can bring that up because a lot of people are looking for volunteer hours.
Great, perfect.
Preston, if anybody who does that probably needs to technically watch those videos.
Yeah, well, for the adopt a highway, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, just let me know or put folks in touch with me if they are interested in the highway cleanup specifically, but also for the cleanup one the next Saturday too.
Okay.
Yeah, the deal with the highway one is that apparently, it's hard to believe, but apparently there is a significant, or at least enough of a problem with people who have meth labs throwing out stuff from their meth lab on the highway. And one video shows you how to safely deal with it. You might come across like that. I think it's highly unlikely you would come across that. But the point being that there's a possibility you could come across something on the side of the road while doing cleanup that you should know how to deal with. But we'd love to have you.
Okay, I will let whoever I tell about that know.
There's
that.
some.
I would have to highlight the myths stuff.
Well, they just highlight that the highway department has some online videos that they want to watch.
All right.
They're about 2 minutes long, so.
Okay, who wants to write this meeting summary? And who forgot to write last month's meeting summary?
Did I? Volunteer? Okay, I will do that.
Should
Sorry.
be in the minutes.
Yeah, it was Kayla.
I can write this week's.
Cool.
Or months.
Okay, just making sure no one's done it twice, right? Indigo, is this your first time?
Yeah.
Okay, just because there's been so little meetings, no one should have to do it twice.
And then I'm just putting that right on the website, right?
Yeah, just log in and write whatever recap you recall and then publish it to the.
All right.
When you do that, you should tell me because I can't get into the sites.
Just send it to me when you write it.
Do you need access in there?
I can just send it to her and she can.
Okay, perfect. Let's see, we already talked about the next meeting, so May 9th, same time, 3:20. Looking to have County Commissioner Jake Meeks give you all a presentation. We were gonna have him do today, but I think he had a really long meeting today, so he couldn't make it today. But he'll talk to you about his perspective on county level government for from Ridgway County's perspective and politics in our region. So, and he's really excited about that. So that will be again next meeting, last meeting, and your last presentation from someone. So, any questions on anything going on? Nothing. Any follow-up questions on stuff that we did at the last meeting or the meeting before that?
The last meeting was the presentation from the sheriff, right? Or the,
Yeah, from the marshal
Okay.
and Lane, our victim advocate.
okay. I don't have any questions. That was my question.
Yeah, no. Good. Anybody got any jokes? Everyone's just tired.
We took the SAT today.
You did the SAT today?
Yes.
It's like 4 hours.
The rest of us.
All
It was
right.
really, really fun.
Congratulations. It's over, right?
Yeah.
Until we get our bad sports back and then we have to take it again. But
It wasn't practice, right? It was like the actual.
yeah, it was the actual one. Yes.
Well, you guys are probably ready for this to be done. So anyone, River, you want to bang the gavel?
Love to.
There's a big.
Just once? Oh,
It's up
Is
to
it
you.
3 times?
Do it 3 times.
Don't be breaking the table.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Those are your bowling. Seriously.